Good evening and welcome to the Thai PBS World. Global pandemic of COVID-19 is not over yet, but while the whole world is still waiting for COVID-19 vaccine, probably it's not too early to imagine what's the direction of the world in the so-called post-COVID-19 world. Thai PBS World tonight, Kun Thep Chayong and me talk to Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus, Grameen Bank founder and Nobel Peace Laureate, and Dr. Faisha Yunus Center Director from AIT. They have their own argument what the world should look like in the so-called post-COVID-19.
I want to start by asking you whether you think the world has learned anything from the pandemic. I mean, judging from the ways that governments and societies handle the pandemic and trying to cope with the new normal in their ways of life.
Yeah, the pandemic has taught us many things. The world that we are coming from before pandemic was not a good world. It's a terrible world. It's a world which is waiting for a major disaster, finishing us all on the planet, rushing to our death, rushing to our disaster. And that's where we were before the pandemic began, because the global warming is going to finish us in a few years if we don't stop it, because it's coming in a big way. And the global wealth concentration is making it impossible for the economy to function, people to function. And this is again a disaster. It's an explosive point we are coming. And then massive unemployment because of the artificial intelligence. So that's the world of terrible future. And we are moving in a bullet train to reach that goal of ending our life abruptly. So I said, pandemic is done, stop the train. And suddenly we see now we can get off the train.
All right.
And now the question I'm raising, should we go back to the train and go back to the first train again, to the disaster, death, or we look for a new life? This is an opportunity for us.
Dr. Shah, closer to home in Thailand, you see signs that we in Thailand are learning anything from the pandemic?
We see that a lot of our mainstay businesses in Thailand, tourism, hospitality, transportation, healthcare, these are our, and fresh produce exports, have all suffered because the people that man these businesses now no longer have the kind of stability, economic stability that Professor Yunus talks about. The other thing that we've seen in Thailand also is that because the kind of economic pillars we stand on, other than light engineering and export, this is going to be the state of affairs for some time. So we have a long distance to cover. So in a way, the train has stopped. We need to find quickly the destination we need to get off at as well.
And Professor Yunus, you try to encourage people to do social business during this COVID-19 pandemic. But in reality, people must have argued that it's so difficult to do any kind of business at the moment. So far, what's your take after you try to encourage people to do so?
Another big question during the pandemic is, you hear everywhere, and the newspaper are full of those reports, that how much money is being reserved, is being already allocated for bailout packages, so that you can restart the engine, restart the train to go back to their old destination. So there's lots of money available already. Some country has billions of dollars, some country has trillions of dollars. They're already reserved, packaged, waiting to be spent. I'm saying, would you spend this money to take this train to the old destination, or you would like to use this money to build a train to go to a new destination? So this is a question, this is an issue that I'm raising. It's not a new money, it's a question of using the money in the right direction. So there you need social businesses. You need to redesign the whole financial structure.
Professor Yunus, you mentioned many times that you'd like people to abandon old trains. So far, are people ready to really abandon old train of the old system?
Building a new path is hard work. It's not easy. Going back to the old life, old world is easy. So you have to decide whether you go back to your comfort zone, personal comfort zone, but sure enough to end in disaster, end in death. So that's what we are saying. It's not about money. It's about what we have in our mind. Right. If you have a right kind of thinking, we create the right kind of institutions and follow the new path.
Professor Yunus, I'm sure that one question that people certainly would want to ask is that where is this nice new shining train that we're talking about? Is it already there, or does someone need to design it, build it and drive it?
We are the people who have to build that train by changing our mind, by making sure that this is the kind of life we want. It's about the kind of thinking process. Look at the vaccine itself. How selfish rich countries are, grabbing all the vaccines even before they are designed yet. Forget about marketing. It's not even produced yet. Just in the thinking process, in the research process, and they are paying billions of dollars to buy up all the future production of vaccine for corona. I said, is this the kind of thing that the world needs to do? I have been pleading and I've been making appeals throughout the world to make corona vaccine as a common good. So vaccine should be like sunshine. It should belong to everybody.
Dr. Shah, what's the contribution on behalf of Thailand to support this UN resolution to have global vaccine to fight COVID-19?
Well, we are part of the outreach from Dhaka. We are reaching out to the Royal Thai government. We are reaching out to the ASEAN community in Thailand. And this year, as you know, Thailand has a prominent role in ASEAN. So hopefully we'll start receiving some positive feedback from that. We do understand that even though we are talking to ASEAN in Thailand, they will still have to go to their own capitals for consultation. So we're trying to get a two-pronged approach. Dhaka is writing directly to governments, and we are also writing through our ASEAN representatives so that there is a momentum that can build.
Dr. Yunus, I agree with you that building a new world certainly requires a collective effort. Everyone has to be involved. But at the end of the day, some kind of leadership must be necessary, right? But do you look at any particular countries or groups of countries that may be in a position to take the lead in that direction?
In bits and pieces, it's not yet a very strong leadership and the global way. France has been a very active supporter of social businesses. They have taken lead in making Paris Olympic 2024 to make it a social business Olympic. They made a big decision. The president of the country is involved, mayor of Paris is involved, and all the top people in Paris involved in making this sports event in 2024 to make it a social business. They call it social business Olympic. So this is a big step. And there are many other organizations, business, and many of the universities there have created, social business center. So you said, how it will be done? Who will provide the leadership? Young people will provide the leadership. Is the conscious leaders of the businesses will give leadership. So many business people signed it, many business leaders like Richard Branson and many others, Guilherme from Brazil. All the business people, they are very active supporters of the idea of social businesses. So I think it's gathering momentum, but the pandemic has given us an opportunity to take a bigger step because they were doing, among many things, they were doing it. Today, it's such a crisis. It's not among many things. This becomes the central focus to save the planet from the disaster that we are heading for, unless we do that. So we want to shift that entire direction of the train and go in a different direction. So need a concerted effort, and I hope we'll get it. And I'm very happy that Thailand is taking a leadership role in that.
So Professor Yunus is asking us whether we are ready to develop the new train for the new destination in the new normal of post-COVID-19. And that's all from Thai PBS World tonight. Thank you very much for watching.